into this one. The toss was won by the Ticats. Often here when wind is a factor, which it's not tonight, you see them defer, but no, they're taking the ball. They want it from the get-go. Montreal won earlier. Ticats know that, know the victory. They can get a playoff spot wrapped up. Tyreek McAllister on the return, and the kick by Rene Paredes. The top kick returner by average in the Canadian Football League. And that is where Taylor Powell and that Ticats offense will go to work here on a Saturday night.
And Taylor Powell, we know with all of the young quarterbacks playing in the league this year, there are going to be ups and downs, right? The line to success is not a straight one. A little bit of a bump in the road, I thought, for Taylor Powell last week against a very tough Toronto Argonauts defense that had a lot of pressure on him, limited what Hamilton was able to do in the run game. Look for James Butler to be a significant part of their attack tonight to take some of the heat off of number 0.
One of the top rushers in the Canadian Football League, but throwing on first down and incomplete, intended for Tim White. So we take a look at this Hamilton Tiger Cat offense tonight.
And taking a look at the offensive line, the veteran David Beard out of the University of Alberta, one of 2 starting centers in this game from the Golden Bears program. And that receiving core, Keandre Smith, coming off a career game, the most targeted and busiest Ticat receiver last week. Career highs, 9 catches, 156 yards for him against Toronto.
He was the biggest part of that Ticat offense last week, and the best game of his young career, Keandre Smith. And it's out to Omar Bayless across the 40, down at about the 44, still shy of a first down, a couple of yards away. Omar Bayless just recently inserted into the lineup after an injury to Duke Williams back in Labor Day, and Trey Roberson, a couple of plays in. Roberson had missed last week and was put on the depth chart in the other side, the wide side of the field, at field corner, and is slow to get up and gets an escort off to the Calgary sideline.
Looking to be favoring that right arm, but wonder a little bit if it might be a stinger coming from the neck and shoulder area, leading to some tingling down the arm. We'll keep an eye on that.
2 yards shy of the first down, so Vedvik comes on. Corey Vedvik to punt it away. And that is Lewis, Tommy Lee Lewis, on the return as he still finds his way up to about the 24 after a 55-yard punt by Vedvik. And the first possession coming up here for Jake Mayer, who led the CFL in passing yards coming into this week at over 3,500, 3,581. But you hear about the interceptions, and a lot of them lately. He's had as many as he has touchdown passes.
Yeah, but you take a look over the course of his last 4 games, we saw that completion percentage coming up over the course of those 4 games. And a big game against Toronto back on August 25th, kicking things off. He's had 7 touchdown passes in his last 4 outings. So something to build on for Mayer. I think they've gotten better throwing the long ball as well, and that'll be something to watch for tonight.
From the Calgary 24, first Stamps possession. Markin Michel with it. And good yardage after the catch for Michel as he gets it up across the Stampeder 40. And a first down, Calgary, right out of the gate.
Yeah, Markin Michel brought in to add a little veteran presence, depth to this Stampeder receiving core that's battled injuries throughout the season. He has certainly made his mark over the course of the year, becoming Calgary's number 2 receiver in terms of yardage behind only Reggie Begelton.
Coming back to the team during this season for his second go-around with Calgary. For some time in the NFL, Kadeem Carey, his first carry of this game as he gets it up to the 45, who's missed 8 games this season and is such a big part of that Calgary offense in the past.
And you just heard Jim Barker mention in studio Radim Brown starting in place of an injured Sean McEwen at center. He is the other University of Alberta product starting at center in this ball game, former 3rd-round pick of Montreal. And Reggie Begelton, the leader, unquestioned in this Stampeder receiving core. Over 100 yards last week on a season high, 13 catches. He's averaging over 100 yards a game over his last 4.
Scrimmaging from their 45 at a 2nd and 6. Swinging it out for Carey. Catches, and he gets back, well, just across the original line of scrimmage, only about a yard there, if that. So punting unit And Cody Grace will be coming on now.
Stampeders able to move the ball a little bit, helping in that field position battle on their first possession, but the Ticats, led by Chris Edwards, get that stop.
Tyreek McAllister, talked about it before, in the kick returns leading the CFL on average, and he has shown the potential to be a game breaker as well. Still no return touchdown. He had one called back earlier this season, but he is dangerous back there. McAllister comes running in to take it to the 25 after a punt of 45 by Grace, and nothing doing around the edge as the Stamps have that sealed off nicely. Taylor Powell back on. Scoreless tie. Ex-Stampeder great Bo Levi Mitchell looking on for him after all those great years in red and white.
Yeah, absolutely. To see so many guys all at once and waiting this long into the season as well.
James Butler with the carry, and looked like he was caught up around the line of scrimmage and broke loose and ends up picking up a first down. But yeah, Bo knew a lot of winning in Calgary, including a couple of Grey Cups and two-time most outstanding player, Grey Cup MVPs as well. And at one point early in his career was winning at a rate that no one ever had before.
Yeah, got off to a tremendous start in his career with the Calgary Stampeders. Of course, for a lot of years, a great place to be a quarterback, as many found success under center in the red and white.
First down, Hamilton 44, right back to Butler as he steamrolls his way up across the 50 to set up a second down. And let's take a look at that Calgary defense.
Yeah, and you'll see Mike Rose continuing to play out at the end spot as the Stampeders have battled some injuries along that D line. Terrell McLean in at D tackle in his place. Seeing Brandon Dozier, frequently the starting safety. He's now at nickel linebacker with Titus Wall out of the lineup. That leads to Nick Taylor shifting over from halfback into that free safety spot. So a lot of juggling in those cover positions. Of course, Roberson and Moxie on the corners having swapped sides from where we've usually seen them over the years.
On the 2nd and 4, Powell wants to pass, flushed out of the pocket. He does dump it off, and no, it's incomplete, intended for Sean Thomas Erlington. So it's a third down coming up with Hamilton after 50.
And you'll see as Taylor Powell starts to scramble here, be a bit of an escape lane in front of him as he steps up. Just might have been able to take off north-south here. 2nd and 4 situation.
Whistle blows that the ball got away. In the punting situation,
we'll take
kind of a mess was that for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. They tried the fake punt. Vedvik back. Tried the fake there from Felix Garangoche. Doesn't work. Calgary ball.
It was a direct snap to number 38, the fullback, Felix Garangoche. This is a guy who was a quarterback in his Cégep days before he went to University of Laval as a fullback. He's looking to throw the ball. Appeared Carthel Flowers Lloyd, the intended target, but the Stampeders able to burst through that line and record the knockdown. I think it was Kalon Thomas.
It was 77 who blocked it on that pass. They tried it, didn't work, and so much better field position. Diedrich Mills with his first carry of this game in at running back for Calgary as the Stamps start in the Ticat zone at the 50 and a pickup of about 4 or 5 yards for Calgary.
Meanwhile, we'll take a look at the at the Hamilton Tiger Cats defense. Mo Diallo back into the lineup this week. He comes off the 6-game injured list. Ted Laurent is down this week. Jameer Thurman playing against the Calgary Stampeders for the first time in his career, of course, a long-time Stamp. And in the secondary, keep an eye on Kenneth George Jr. First-year player. He's moving from boundary corner to boundary half this week due to an injury to Javian Elliott.
2nd and 6 and right back to their leading rusher, Diedrich Mills. Leading rusher because of all the reps he got with the injury to Kadeem Carey, who's mentioned missed 8 games, but has filled in very nicely and getting a couple of reps too, and up for a first down inside the Hamilton 40.
Great opportunity here for the Calgary Stampeders with terrific field position after the failed punt fake by the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Making the most of it thus far, moving the ball for a first down.
Halfway through this opening quarter, no score. Could be an opportunity coming up here off the turnover by the Stampeders. Mayer on the first down and out to the left, and that one intended for William Longley as he's pushed out of bounds by Chris Edwards, incomplete. Second down coming up. Middle linebacker for Hamilton is certainly familiar to these Stampeders. He started his career in Calgary. Jameer Thurman, first year with the Ticats, but won a Grey Cup with the Red and White back in 2018.
Yeah, 4 seasons that he actually spent with the Stampeders, 1 year in there. Down south pursuing his options down there, but a guy who played the weak side, played in the middle for Calgary over the course of his time there, really established himself as one of the most productive linebackers in the Canadian Football League.
That was a great linebacking core they had with Alex Singleton back then in the middle. They won that cup 5 years ago. 2nd and 10, Hamilton 40. Mayer, and it's caught by one of the top receivers in the CFL, Reggie Begelton, and he is hurt. Took the hit from the safety, Stavros Katsantonis, hung on to the football, but Begelton remains down on the turf.
Yeah, obviously, you hate to see any player get injured, but you got to appreciate the courage of Reggie Begelton because he knows the hit is coming from Katsantonis, and he knows that to make this catch, he's going to have to expose himself. Fearlessly goes up and gets that football, takes the shot, hangs on to the ball. Big hit, clean hit from Katsantonis patrolling the middle.
Completely exposed, reaching up for that pass, and somehow manages to hang on to the football, but Begelton is still down. We'll take a break and be back in a moment here at Tim Hortons Field.
Under his own power, seeming to be shaking this one off. But yeah, they ruled that as he came down to the turf that he briefly lost control of that football, so incomplete is the call.
Rene Paredes from 47 yards away and is perfect to put the first points on the board. It looked like they got nice and close on the catch by Begelton, who then got hurt, but have another look at what they called incomplete.
Yeah, just see as he's falling down, you can see it between his hands here, but watch as it goes down, as he goes down to the turf, you can see where the tip of that football touches down on the turf and changes position. That you can see that he didn't have a firm grip on it as he hit the ground. What Dave Dickinson was yelling, if you can read his lips there, was who challenged, as he wants to know why the original call on the field was changed.
So it's Hamilton football up at their 40 now and trailing by 3 after the Paredes field goal. Taylor Powell throwing off to his right, and he completes it to Keandre Smith, who was the best offensive weapon the Ticats had, to be sure, and a career high game for him last week in their loss to Toronto. And Taylor Powell, an emergent story with Hamilton, and is now for first-year passers, not necessarily rookies. In the case of Mike Kerrigan back in 1986 when they won the Grey Cup, Chuck Ely was in 72, and then Ken Hobart in the mid-80s, and then Powell. When you look at first-year passing, now 4th on that list for the Ticats franchise.
Yeah, pretty impressive season for Taylor Powell, no doubt.
Throwing again and intending it for Godwin, but it's incomplete on that second down. So a 2 and out for Powell and the Ticats as he'll head off the field, and they're in a punting situation again.
And this is what looked like it got away from Powell a little bit. Godwin tries to redirect against his momentum, but wasn't able to grab it.
Last time in this situation, they did a direct snap to Felix Garangoche, whose pass attempt was knocked down. They turned it over on downs. Corey Vedvik standing just outside his 30 to punt this one away. Waiting the snap of Gordon White. Straight back to him. Shorter punt. Tommy Lee Lewis coming in and takes it at the 25. A 39-yard 20-yard punt, but not much of a return by Lewis. The coverage was there for the Ticats. Back comes Jake Mayer with a...
Tonight here at Tim Hortons Field, that was designed by Kyle Joda, who himself, an Indigenous artist in the Hamilton area, self-taught wood artist, who said, the most important thing for me is to build a connection between my art and my heritage. You will also see an Indigenous redesigning of the Calgary Stampeders logo on their helmet by those from the Siska Nation. This is not a business arrangement, Dr. Tyler White said of the Siska Nation. This is about friendship and building understanding. You will see a lightning bolt, you will see a hand, you will see other representations of the Indigenous culture to build friendship in this ongoing process of reconciliation.
Thank you, Matthew. We've seen that, lots of orange and the Indigenous theme in the uniforms, honoring the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. Calgary football on the first down. Deep look right for Luther Hakunavanu. A flag coming out on that pass play. Richard Leonard in on the coverage.
Jake Mayer took a big hit from Malik Carney. Just
legal contact, Hamilton, number 3. 10-yard penalty, makes it a first down.
Watch for Carney from his defensive end spot. He's going to come free just after the ball is released. A little bit of a mismatch as he's working against the receiver. We'll keep an eye on the outside. Matchup, Leonard versus Luther Hakunavanu. This is where we get the illegal contact on that double move.
Mark and Michelle up near the 15 for he is taken down on that first down play. And a flag comes out late just as he was getting up. So some tempers starting to flare. And it looks like Simone Lawrence is the center of attention here.
Yeah, the chatter continuing down on the field. You'll see at the tail end of this when Michelle is down.
There are 2 objectionable conduct misconduct fouls, one against Hamilton 21 and Calgary 81. Those penalties offset, second down.
Well, they called 81, but I'm wondering if it
number
is.
80 Calgary, 80 Calgary.
Yeah, now the correction from the referee, Tim Croker. It is Mark and Michelle, so offsetting penalties on that play with Simone Lawrence involved in the tackle and over top Mark and Michelle. 2nd and 7, Calgary 50 Stamps in a critical game, especially for them, leading this one by 3. Jake Mayer to throw again over the middle. He does. It is complete. First catch of the night for Cole Tucker. The Stampeders rookie, but not enough for a first down, and the punting unit will come on.
Yeah, Tucker, first-round pick for the Stampeders this year out of Northern Illinois. Battled injuries a little bit through his first season, but part of a deep crop of young Canadians that Calgary has assembled through the draft over the last 3 or 4 years.
Cody Grace. The punt of 45 down to McAllister at the 10 and picks up about 7 yards on the return. And more flags come up, more activity after the whistle between these two. Kenneth George. Kind of the who me look afterwards. Chippy start here with the Ticats leading the league in penalties and the Stamps. Here's Tim Croker.
Conduct foul.
Take a look back at the exchange of pleasantries here along the Stampeder sideline.
Conduct fouls. one against Hamilton, number 3, one against Calgary, number 77. With penalties offset, first down, Hamilton.
So it was George and Killon Thomas for Calgary involved in that one, once again, offsetting.
And very similar to what went on between Simone Lawrence and Mark and Michelle moments earlier. One player standing over top of the other. The guy down on the field takes a little bit of a shove at him, and both teams fortunate in both of these instances that the penalties cancel each other out.
And now Matthew Schultz at quarterback for Hamilton, who fakes and runs. Schultz taking off and gets it up close to the 30, getting an extra push. So Powell out of the game and Schultz in. Matthew Schultz had taken over from Bo Levi Mitchell as the #1 QB when Mitchell got hurt, and then he got hurt in Edmonton back in week 7, and that's when Powell took over.
Yeah, quarterback draw type play, draw the defense upfield. Nice kick out block there from Brandon Revenberg. He goes and gets a couple. And we know about the running ability of Matthew Schultz. We've seen him used in the past under Tommy Condell in various offensive packages. Scott Milanovic doing the same.
So Powell is back in now. Just the one play for Schultz and handing off, and a flag comes out. James Butler, the ball carrier. Schultz got injured in the second half in their victory in Edmonton back in July. And that's when Powell took over, the rookie out of Eastern Michigan. And Schultz mentioned been back #2 in the depth, back healthy for a couple of weeks, but the way Powell had been progressing, he wasn't about to give up that #1 spot.
A holding call against the Ticats is going to back them up. First down being repeated. 1st and 20 here, giving back a little bit of that yardage that Matthew Schultz got on that draw.
So back at the Ticat 21. And Powell, incomplete, intended there for Terry Godwin. Micah Awe, one of the leading tacklers, Canadian Football League.
Well, we talked to Micah Awe earlier this season about his decision to join the Calgary Stampeders in free agency, and he suggested, having watched the success and the opportunity style of play of their middle linebackers over the years, this was a team he was excited to play for, a defense for which he was very glad to have the opportunity to compete. That basically the chance to go out and run and hit. Two things at which he has excelled.
On the second down, taking off is Powell, who slides up. Well shy of a first down, but up near the 35, but a 3rd down coming up.
And watch here for the parting of the Red Sea. It's only a 3-man rush, as you can see, big gaps. Everyone else has dropped off deep. If you look, everyone's cleared out in different directions. Taylor Powell with lots of room. But they needed so much. Stampeders were able to close before he could even get close to that first down marker.
Still 9 yards shy of a first down as Cameron Judge, their weak side linebacker, heading off. Looks to be limping a bit after that play. Corey Vedvik standing inside the Hamilton 20, and Tommy Lee Lewis, the one back for Calgary, as he moves in to take this one on the fly. Across the 45, Lewis fun to 45 yards, gets it up over the 50, and once again a flag has come out here. Jake Mayer comes back on late in the first quarter, under a minute to go, and slow offensively, if you will. We've had the one field goal after the turnover by Rene Paredes, and that's it. 3-0 Stampeders.
Slow starts offensively for both of these teams. What is a critical matchup for each of these two teams in terms of the playoff picture?
Some issues with the referee's mic. There was a penalty against Calgary, pushing them back to start this possession at their 34. Half minute to go in the opening quarter. And handing off, Kadeem Carey has it. And turns around and ends up getting tripped up. But after a good pickup to set up a 2nd and short. 8 yards.
Right call against the defensive front that they got from Hamilton that time. Just 3 men up front. Hamilton slanted their defensive left. Calgary was able to cut it back. Just free space. Carey getting about 8 on the play.
Stampeders coming off a home loss to the Montreal Alouettes last week. The Owls winning earlier today at TD Place in Ottawa. Little fake. And it is complete. And for a first down, 2 in that 2nd and short, and the first catch of this night by Colton Hunchak on the final play of the opening quarter. A feeling out process between these 2 teams offensively with just 3 points on the board. Ticats a chance to clinch a playoff spot for the 5th straight year, and the Stampeders desperately needing a victory to hang in. Not a whole lot to talk about. If we're speaking of offense, I'll choose the penalties right now.
That's where I was going.
Because it does look chippy between these 2 teams. The first time they've met this year.
Yeah, it really does, for not a traditional rivalry, certainly, but lots to play for both these teams. A couple of teams that haven't necessarily had a lot go the way that they've wanted to here in 2023, and maybe we're seeing some of that in Week 17.
I was going to say, if the Ticats are able to win this, Calgary's only route to make the playoffs would be by catching and passing the Saskatchewan Roughriders. There would be no crossover if the Ticats win tonight. But we talked about it before, uncharted waters for Dave Dickinson as a player and a coach to be on a team with a losing record. And it just speaks to how great he has been in both departments, to never having gone through this before. Best he could do is they run the table as 8 and 10. He'd certainly take that now, though. It means a chance to play on in the postseason. 1st and 10, 2nd quarter begins. Kadeem Carey, he bounces off and he heads outside, and yes, there is a flag down as he gets it to the Ticat 50 and close to a first down. Coming back.
Yeah, I wonder what the location of the flag.
Holding. Calgary number 60. 10-yard penalty, remains first down.
Getting the left tackle, Deontay Demery.
Yeah, he's trying to secure the edge with Carey bouncing that one outside. Ends up getting flagged on it. They're going to back this up. And Rod, as you mentioned, Dave Dickinson, yeah, literally in his entire football career, only once has he been part of a team with a losing record. That was the 2001 San Diego Chargers. Starting quarterback was Doug Flutie. Dave was a backup on that team. Not a lot of losing in Doug's career either, by the way.
No, true enough. And that was the only time, so never in the CFL until this year. And Jameer Thurman with the ball popping out, but into the hands of Cole Tucker. That was taken by Kadeem Carey, and Thurman got to him. Out it came, but very alertly, Tucker is there to make sure Calgary not only keeps the ball, but gets the first down.
Yeah, very fortunate. You see Carey to the left of his quarterback off the run fake. He's going to bend this route back to the left. And you can see Thurman grabbing for it. I think it was Chris Edwards who actually popped it out. But Cole Tucker, right place, right time.
And check that again. Sorry, Dwayne, a gain of 13, not a first down because the holding penalty before. So now we have a 2nd and 7. But a good gain before, and there's your first down. Trey Odoms-Dukes back in that Calgary offense as Simone Lawrence rolls over the ad sign, but Odoms-Dukes with his first catch of this game.
Yeah, Odoms-Dukes working out of the slot here. He's just running the quick out. He's already got outside leverage on his defender. Ball comes quickly. Turns it north-south. Second big game back in the lineup for Odoms-Dukes after a stint on the practice roster. They brought in veteran Marquise Ambles to help out in that receiving corps.
From the 40, first down, Dedrick Mills, another carry. He pulls his way for 6, 7 more yards for the Stamps. Now getting into a scoring opportunity at the very least here for Calgary inside the 35 of the Ticats.
Yeah, I know for Jake Mayer, this is an area where he feels they need to be a little better when they get into scoring territory. They've got to finish. Mark Washington certainly looking for a different outcome to this drive.
Ticats defensive coordinator. 2nd and 3 at the Hamilton 33. Stamps with a 3-point lead with time. Completes it. And that's Tommy Lee Lewis, and another first down for Calgary. The crossing route going to Lewis, and he gets that one down inside the Hamilton 25.
Yeah, and so often with a speedy receiver, you think in terms of using that speed to get him open deep, but that 65-yard wide field, often in the Canadian Football League, this is exactly the kind of route you want to get for a guy like Tommy Lee Lewis. Let him use that speed to outrun people horizontally. Great little space.
1st and 10 of the Ticat 23. Pressure's coming. Chris Edwards charging in, and that one goes incomplete. Reaching up for it was Dedrick Mills. But what about Reggie Begelton, who got hurt earlier on? Here's Matthew.
Now, when we saw Reggie Begelton come off, he was certainly frustrated, as you mentioned, Rob, that he went right into the Stampeders medical tent, and they were examining his ribs. He came out. They did apply something to his ribs, and he has been running to test it out. The official word right now on him is questionable. Rob.
And that is huge for the Stampeders, Matthew. Their leading receiver, one of the top receivers, 3rd in yardage in the CFL, and tops in receptions and targets, and out of the game right now after that hit by Katsantonis. So no Begelton. Calgary is pressing, though. 2nd and 10 at the Ticat 23. Mayer. And into the end zone, but nobody near. The closest would have been Hunchak. That one falls into the end zone incomplete. So the drive stalls, and Rene Paredes will come on to see if they can add 3 more.
And talking to some of the Stampeder players this week, again, this is sort of the feeling, is not necessarily that there are a ton of mistakes being made, but the timing of those mistakes. Here with an opportunity to score, you clearly see some signals getting crossed, and the Stamps are forced to settle for a Rene Paredes field goal attempt rather than a touchdown.
He is 43 of 49 on the season, 1 for 1 tonight. We'll make that 2 for 2, and they double their lead. Still a 1-score game, though, 6-0. Julian Hauser back in Hamilton, where he used to call home. Career sacks in the CFL, 21 of them right here in Hamilton as a member of the Ticats from 2018 to 22. His first trip back since signing on as a free agent with the Calgary Stampeders.
Julian Hauser.
There's his family looking on too, making the trip up from Pennsylvania.
Yeah, we talked to him this week. He said usually when he was playing in Hamilton, they would come up a couple times a year, as it's not too long a drive. So revisiting their old stomping grounds here too.
Deep look, Taylor Powell, and it's caught. Tim White breaks loose, and he has a Ticat touchdown. 70 yards. Hamilton's offense has not done much, but on one big play, they're an extra point away from taking the lead.
Sometimes that's all it takes. Good adjustment to come back to the ball here by Tim White, Matthew Schultz. Max protect look. Nice job by the Ticats offensive line picking everything up. White able to adjust back to that ball, coming underneath Jonathan Moxey on the corner to make the play. Taking it to the house. Mark Leggio on now, looking for the lead.
Tim White had no catches yet. He was 68 yards shy of 1,000, and he just got 70 on that one play. So Tim White going over 1,000 yards receiving. The Ticats leading receiver, and there it is, the Mark Leggio extra point. Or no, he puts it wide to his left, and flags come out again afterwards. The disagreement with the long snapper Gordon White and Cameron Judge on that play, but no, Leggio was just wide, so it remains a tied game at 6. And just as that's going on, after the White touchdown, more flags out as the tempers flare between these two sides. This one looking more Toronto Hamilton or Calgary Edmonton.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness, Calgary number 4. It's a 15-yard penalty will be applied on the kickoff.
And there's your explanation, the full moon.
The full moon. Absolutely. We'll take a look at the tail end. Watch right at the top of your screen is Cam Judge on Gordon White. That's him into the up right there. You know, a little bit of a sense that that's a case of calling the outcome rather than calling what was actually done. You see here, Tim White. Now, White had come in motion. He had been the inside receiver. He motioned to the outside on this one. So he gets a running start on the corner, Jonathan Moxey. Not sure if Moxey was maybe anticipating covering a receiver who was already stationary on the line, so he couldn't get in his back pedal, couldn't match White's speed off the line, which allowed White to get over the top. Moxey scrambles to recover, but you saw at the tail end that leads to him overrunning the receiver as the ball was en route. White able to adjust and come back to the ball.
As they rotate the quarterbacks in, Matthew Schiltz throwing that one to White for the touchdown. What's now a 6-6 tie. Second time that Schiltz had been rotated in for Taylor Powell.
And I think a lot of teams are recognizing the value of depth and experience at quarterback in today's Canadian Football League. Matthew Schiltz certainly demonstrating that here tonight. He's been in for just a couple of plays, but they've both been pretty big ones for the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
It was Schiltz who was the starter in Edmonton back in July, and when he got hurt, Powell went in. His first CFL pass was a touchdown to Tim White. So now Schiltz coming in, and it's White for a 70-yarder. Tommy Lee Lewis on the return now in a tie game after the missed extra point. Patrick Burke in on the special teams tackle, and Tommy Lee Lewis. So, and now it looks like Tyler Tarnowski has an injury. The Hamilton receiver heading off. Favoring his arm or his hand, but he just got back in the lineup last week against the Argos. Six Calgary ball. There is 8 for 12. Quarterback with certainly the big play capability. Haven't seen it yet. 4 receivers out to the left as he looks, and over the middle he completes a shorter one, and that is Reggie Begelton back in this game. Good to see Begelton back in there for Calgary, and a gain of about 7 yards for the Stamps.
Yeah, Begelton has become so critical to Calgary's passing game. This is a guy who's always been a very good receiver in this league, but I find this year in particular, the guy that Jake Mayer has really come to lean on, and terrific chemistry between those two as well.
We're up at the Stampeder 40 now, and a second down and short, and Kadeen Carey has the first down and more as he gets it up across the 45.
First down, Calgary.
Take a look at the numbers on Reggie Begelton in this 2023 season. You really get a handle not just on what he means to the Calgary Stampeders, but just how dynamic a player he is here in the Canadian Football League as a whole.
Right in behind Austin Mack, Dalton Schoen in receiving yards. Back in the game, Calgary 45, first down in a tie game, off to the left. That is caught by Begelton, and not much there. Maybe a yard or 2 for the Stamps, and a second and long coming up.
Dexter Lawson in on the play in that Hamilton secondary. A secondary that's really battled injury issues. I mentioned earlier Kenneth George with the injury to Javian Elliott, moving in from corner to halfback. Dexter Lawson came into the lineup a couple weeks ago, a couple games ago, with Tunde Adeleke. went down.
All right, from the Stampeder 47 now in a 2nd and 8, and Mayer, and that one with the Cole Tucker in the vicinity is incomplete. Another punt coming up here for Calgary.
Now that one getting away on Mayer. One hopping it to his intended target. Get another look at Tyreek McAllister in the return game.
Keep tabs when the Ticats get the ball and just how much they are rotating their quarterbacks in. As said, Schultz had the biggest play of all coming in. Ooh, nearly blocked there for the Ticats. Some pressure on Cody Grace. Tyreek McAllister lost the handle on the ball and has to just fall on it after a 48-yard punt. A couple of near misses there on both sides. Matthew Schultz is on again. Switching it up at quarterback, Matthew.
You know what? It's funny, Rod. Yesterday, we were asking Coach Orlando Steinauer when Bo Levi Mitchell becomes healthy if the option would present itself to rotate his quarterbacks. The Ticats have done that. Did a lot under Tommy Condell. You think of Henry Burst and Jeremiah Masoli and Dane Evans. And what did Orlando Steinauer tell us? Well, it can't hurt us. And he referenced the lack of tape both on Bo Levi Mitchell this season and Matthew Schultz, who, of course, was dealing with a hip injury. It seems like a nod to what Tommy Condell is doing. But going forward, again, that lack of film might benefit the Ticats. Guys?
Interesting. So Schultz is back in. He's thrown the touchdown pass tonight. And they run it. It's Butler. Gets it up across the 25. And, well, I mean, small sample size right now in this game, Dwayne, but you can't argue with the result so far.
No, you certainly can't. And again, I think the experience of Matthew Schultz goes a long way. 6th-year player in the Canadian Football League, 2nd year with the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Guy who adds a little bit of a different dimension. You know, underrated in terms of his mobility, his athleticism. Maybe a bit more of a runner than Taylor Powell.
2nd and 7. Pressure coming. He gets it away. Deflected. Intercepted. Cameron Judge in a great play after it was tipped up. He himself did it, and now he's playing to the Ticat fans are giving him an earful, and that's what he wants. But a turnover, another one, and this time it is the Stampeders. The 2nd time the Ticats have turned it over. This time the interception by Judge.
And Judge starts off up close to the line of scrimmage, right side of the line, drops back into the middle zone coverage, comes underneath to pop that one up in the air. Great athletic play by Cameron Judge. Look at where he ranged on this play. Again, he started off on the right side of the line at the line of scrimmage. He ends up making a play in the middle of the field before eventually coming up with the catch over on the left side. Fantastic defensive effort by the Stamps weak side backer.
Kadeen Carey, the ball carrier. Casey Sales taking him down after he picks up a few. But last time Calgary benefited from a Hamilton turnover. They ended up with a field goal out of it. Presented with good field position again. Cameron Judge with that interception, deflecting it to himself. And for Judge, his 3rd interception of the season.
Yeah, Cameron Judge, this is a guy who didn't play a ton of snaps defensively during his time at UCLA. Was a stud on special teams. Everybody knew he was a great athlete coming into the CFL in 2017, 2nd overall pick. Now here having an opportunity to play.
2nd and 6, the Hamilton 45. Mayer wants to take off, but he can't. We'd like to welcome in our viewers watching on TSN3 who've been watching curling. Rod Smith, Wayne Ford, Matthew Shinetti at Tim Hortons Field in Hamilton. And Jamal Davis, former Montreal Alouette, just gets a big defensive play for the Ticats. His first game with Hamilton. And there is Jagarrett Davis. Came back.
Davises.
It is. The J. Davises. And so after an interception by the Ticats, Cameron Judge getting it, Calgary linebacker, not able to do much with it, so they'll have to punt it away. Here's Cody Grace at midfield, try to pin McAllister deep, takes it down at the 5, and gets it after a punt of 40 yards to around the 13. Matthew Schultz is coming in again at quarterback. for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. That's what Judge did. Tipped it to himself. And that's a reaction from Bowley. And coming up here in Hamilton, November the 19th. And Kate in the studio will have more on what the plans are for the halftime show. Down near 5 minutes to go until the half. 6-6 tie. One touchdown scored in this game. It is swung out there to Butler, who gets it up close to the 24. Close to a first down. It is a pickup of 11 yards for James Butler.
You see Cam Judge again covering some ground to get in on the tackle. Butler free release from the backfield. Judge in pursuit. Get in on the play.
Matthew Schultz at quarterback for Hamilton. They had been rotating them in, but Schultz threw a touchdown pass to Tim White. He has replaced Taylor Powell for now anyway. And on the 1st and 10, back to Butler, picks up a few more. We approach winding down to 4 minutes to go until halftime. The Ticats know if they win this game, they clinch a playoff spot. And that's because Montreal won earlier, beat the Ottawa Red Blacks. Deep look for Keandre Smith. Trey Roberson takes him down, but Smith, who had such a big game, and a big first down inside the Calgary 40.
Well, you had about half the players on the field playing, half of them not. Look at the Calgary guys. They're looking at the sideline waiting for a call. Hamilton snaps the ball as soon as time gets whistled in. Calgary guys don't realize what's happening. All of a sudden, the ball's being thrown over 12 heads.
That ball was snapped by Beard just the second it was whistled in, and you're right. It caught Calgary there, and yeah, it's a legal play. 46 yards, the pickup. Smith back to Butler on the ground. And down just inside the 35. So a couple of big passes by Matthew Schultz. Previous one, a 70-yarder, a touchdown to Tim White. With a missed extra point, hence the 6-6 tie. Calgary had started it off with a couple of field goals by Rene Paredes. 3-minute warning given now, and Hamilton with a chance to take the lead.
Great so far. What happened on that last play for Calgary? And if you haven't heard, we are going to be announcing the Twisted Tea halftime performer at Grey Cup. Can't wait.
Halftime getting closer with Kate in the panel, and now under 3 minutes to go until they hit the dressing rooms, and the Ticat have a chance to have the lead. The 6-6 tie, but they're in the Calgary zone, and Matthew Schultz, it's deflected, and it falls incomplete.
A little bit of zip on that one. Off the hands of intended target Omar Bayless.
Trey Roberson reaching for it, but not quite close enough. So field goal unit is on. Mark Leggio, a chance to put Hamilton on top. The ball to be put down right around the 40 of Calgary. His first field goal try. Leggio 30 of 36 will make it 31 of 37 on the season, as Hamilton at one point down 6-0 have scored a touchdown and a field goal since, and now lead this one 2:42 on the clock until halftime, leading it by 3. NFL on TSN will continue tomorrow as the Falcons and Jaguars touch down in London for the first international game of the season. And on TSN Plus, the Falcons and Jags transform into the world of Toy Story. That was Dwayne's favorite movie as they play in real time.
Still is.
Andy's room still is. Mine too. Coverage beginning at 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific on TSN and TSN Plus. And I ask you again, what position would Buzz Lightyear have played? It's got to be a linebacker, right? Not necessarily.
No, it's middle linebacker making the calls.
Okay. Nothing there for Carney in on the tackle there.
Emily Wayne Carney enjoying a terrific year. The Hamilton Tiger Cats has seen his playing time increase over the course of the last couple seasons. Here in Hamilton, we talked with him earlier this week about the depth that existed at the defensive end position on this team a couple of years ago, and how hard it was to get on the field.
No gain. 2nd and 10. The fake to carry. The pressure on Mayer, and he goes down, and it's Jamal Davis, the ex-Alouette, with the sack for the Ticats to force Calgary to kick it away. He was just let go by Montreal earlier this week and picked up by Hamilton.
Jamal Davis getting a taste of the Mark Washington defense. Get to move around a little bit. Traditionally, and then you see him line up at tackle here. He and Carney on the same side, straight bull rush. Yikes. Ryan Sevier, no slouch at guard, but Davis caught him off guard on that one.
Got him on his heels, pushed him back, got right to the quarterback, and because of it, Cody Grace punting it away. So 153, still lots of time. And McAllister on that return after a punt of 42 and an obvious no yards there as well. Tack on 15 more for the Ticats. Jamal Davis.
There's numbers for 2023 with Montreal. In his 3rd year with the Alouettes. And they make changes. He requested a release.
No yards.
Quickly in
Calgary number 38. During the return holding, Hamilton number 39. Difference is 5 yards. First down, Hamilton.
You could tell with his social media posts that it didn't end well with Montreal. He was not happy and probably.
That was an illegal block. Legal block.
But this is what he had to say pregame.
I promise you, the best football. Stay tuned.
Well, Davis delivering so far on that promise. Coming up big on that rush.
Motivated with a new team and gets the sack here late in the first half. So Schultz, he sets up McAllister. Lots of room afterwards for Tyreek McAllister. And the Ticats could get another chance to put some points on the board. Still 1:40 on the clock until halftime.
And this is McAllister at his best, a guy who's sort of a hybrid running back slot. Skill set, it's a great fit here in the Canadian Football League on the big field where there are plenty of opportunities to get him the ball in space just like that.
Gets it down to the Calgary 47 and off to the right again. Sean Thomas Erlington wanted to turn around and get moving and just has not secured the football. Falls incomplete.
Yeah, he knew how open he was on this play. Starts off beside the quarterback, free release into the flat. Quick shot from Matthew Schultz. Look at all that green in front of him, and he knew it. That's why he's trying to get going, get upfield in a hurry. But he forgot something.
Just needed to make sure he caught that ball first before making the turn. So 3rd down now. Or 2nd, excuse me. 2nd and 10 at the Calgary 47. Schultz. That's complete to Omar Bayless. First down. Spins. Gets it inside the Calgary 30. Ticats in business. Still a minute and a half to go until halftime. Gain of 19 yards. Schultz to Bayless.
A nice escape here by Bayless as this Stampeder defenders closed on him ahead of that first down marker. Kind of turned sideways and slipped through there.
Down at the 28. 1st and 10. Ticats pressing late in the half. And dumping it off. That was for Keandre Smith, but too far from Schultz. So 2nd down.
That clock stopped. Mentioned the big game of Keandre Smith last week, and with a 40-plus yard catch here today. Former Guelph Griffin heating up a little bit down the stretch.
9 catches for 156 yards last week against the Argos. A career high for him. The son of former Argos star Adrian Smith back in the 90s, early 2000s. 2nd and 10, Calgary 28. Deep look, right side, end zone! second touchdown pass of this half.
This is a fantastic adjustment to the ball by Terry Godwin. Initially, as he's running his route, he's looking over his inside shoulder, has to take his eyes completely off the ball to turn to his outside. You see him lined up as a lone receiver out to that right side. He goes initially, looking over the left shoulder, has to turn, look over his right, relocate the ball, and hauls it in beautifully for the major.
His 5th of the season for the second-year product out of Georgia, Terry Godwin. As the Ticats add to the lead, and Mark Leggio on again to try this extra point. Missed the earlier one, no problem there. Right through. And it is a 16-6, a 10-point lead now. 16 unanswered points for the Ticats after a 5-play, 69-yard drive that took only 43 seconds off the clock.
Yeah, Matthew Schultz continuing to get it done, just drops this one in over top of Jonathan Moxey into the waiting arms of Terry Godwin. As you mentioned, his 15th of the year, in fact 5th in 5 games, and a 3-game touchdown streak for the former Georgia Bulldog.
The last time Matthew Schultz had played, he got hurt in Edmonton in week 6. That's when Taylor Powell took over. Bull Levi Mitchell got a start in between and got hurt again. But now Schultz is embracing the chance, getting in this first half and replacing Powell. And what he's done, 6 for 10, 195, a couple of touchdowns and 1 picked off.
Yeah, what stands out is the 195 on 6 completions. Over 30 yards a pop.
70 of those coming on that first touchdown pass to Tim White. And another big one. That one hops in for Mills on the return across the 30 and 35. And under a minute, 57 seconds to go. So it was Taylor Powell back in that day in Edmonton coming in and starting most of the way since, and now on the bench with Matthew Schultz. Instead of a rotation, seems more like Schultz's turn now.
The Tiger Cats are riding the hot hand right now. That has certainly been Matthew Schultz.
And for Jake Mayer, a critical game, one of many for the Calgary Stampeders at that point. It's 10 of 15 for 72 yards. A couple of field goals on the board. That one intended for Begelton. With Katsantonis bearing down again. Hit a big hit on Begelton earlier in this game, and that one falls incomplete.
Now watch for Katsantonis coming from the top of your screen.
In the first quarter, Begelton had to go up for one, left exposed, and took quite a hit from Katsantonis. He was knocked out of the game for a little while. And, well, it looked like he'd hung onto the ball, not quite. There, Jagarrett Davis nearly got him, and that one is caught. And that's Begelton again with Katsantonis around him, and a big first down for the Calgary Stampeders with 47 seconds to go.
Yeah, and I'll go back to it. This is all part of what you got to love about Reggie Begelton. He's already been cracked in the ribs, but still no hesitation going into traffic across the middle to make plays.
Richard Leonard got to him first on that, but he gets the catch. 39 seconds, flag is out. Luther Hakunavanu has the catch and inside the Ticat 50 as we wait for the flag. Product of York University in Toronto.
Tough day for the York Lions today.
Tough season.
Yes.
Offside. Calgary number 86. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
And that over the years, a school that's produced some good players too.
But I mean, you take a look at this game, 2 of the Calgary Stampeders, Luther Hakunavanu and Colton Hunchak. See who got played for the York products. Take a look at Stavros Katsantonis continuing to fly around from his free safety spot.
Got more Richard Leonard there. Katsantonis from UBC. First and 15 after the penalty to Calgary 44. Late in the half, incomplete. Second down. Intended for Mark and Michelle, and well, you throw that over the middle tonight. You got number 30 coming at you.
Yeah, big playing free safety for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, channeling a little bit of Rob Hitchcock here. Throwing the body around on anyone who comes into his territory.
Rob Hitchcock, who you referenced, for 42 and one of the greats in this organization, playing at safety. There he is, up in their wall of honor. Under 30 seconds to go. It's caught. And that is Michelle, the receiver, and they get a little closer now, down to the 50. See if they can get into the range of Paredes. 25 on the clock.
Take a look at this lunging effort by Michelle again. Ball thrown to the outside. Great body control. Reach out and pull that one in.
Need about 7 yards. Oh, intercepted. No. Will Sunderland coming in and nearly had a shot at it. Diving down. Sunderland getting the start with the injury to Javian Elliott and the way they rotated around the secondary, and nearly had one here, Dwayne.
Yeah, keep an eye on this matchup on the outside. You see, he recognizes. As soon as Michelle sits down, he starts driving forward. Try to come underneath on that one.
Thinking about what might have been. 2nd and 10, Hamilton 50. 16 seconds. Stampeders trailing the Ticats by 10. 4-man rush. A look to the left, complete inside the 40 for Odoms Dukes, who gets out of bounds. 10 seconds to go, and within Paredes' range to at least get 3 points on the board for Calgary before the half.
And I think they're watching the clock here, because I'm not sure that he got out before he was down. Time whistled back in and the clock's running. Jake Mayer gets it stopped now to give Paredes a chance to get out there.
Here's that play to Odoms Dukes.
And you'll see he gets his legs cut out. There he's down before he's able to roll out.
So a good call by the officials there. They run it again as Calgary had to stop it, and they're going to see if they can get one more crack at it here. Just inside the 40 before Paredes. Unless they just take a shot into the end zone here. No, just running it and not getting anything.
Yeah, getting it centered up. Make it an easier angle. Slightly easier angle for Paredes. Get that ball in the middle of the field.
So he'll have about 47, 48 yards. See if they can make it a one-score game. 10 points now. See if they can knock it down to 7 before they hit the dressing room. Stampeders last won at home on Labor Day Monday. They lost the rematch game and a comeback by the Edmonton Elks at Commonwealth the next week, just days later. And had a bye and then lost to Montreal last week. Paredes is heading left. Doesn't get it. Coming out is McAllister. Nowhere to go, but still stays out of the end zone. And he's still on his feet. And finally, he is tackled there by the kicker, Paredes, with a special teams tackle. As the half comes to an end, and part of the story here, the change in quarterback for the Ticats.
Yeah, Matthew Schultz coming off the bench to heat things up offensively, looking pretty good in the process, giving them a little bit of a spark. Tyreek McAllister getting a little bit of ribbing for letting the kicker catch him, I think.
So Calgary had the 6-0 lead and a couple of Paredes field goals, but all Ticats after that. Big touchdown pass to Tim White from Matthew Schultz coming in for Taylor Powell, and then he threw another one to Terry Godwin. Interception when the Ticats added some points, but you know, that gallery at Tim Hortons Field, they're waiting to give it to number 4 again, I'm sure. Starting the second half with that 10-point lead, Tommy Lee Lewis with the ball. Calgary gets it to start the second half as Lewis, he drives his way up across the 40 to about the 43 for Jake Mayer to come back on 13-22 for 115 yards passing, no touchdowns, no picks.
And no real deep shots taken by Calgary in the first half of this football game, so I wouldn't be surprised to see Mayer get a little bit more aggressive here. And, you know, I mean, part of the thinking may be some concerns protection-wise, once again, with a guy like Sean McEwen out of that lineup. I think they're still working to try and find some chemistry along that offensive line. I think that's been one of the biggest challenges for them in terms of offensive consistency in a game that begins in the trenches.
With the rookie Rodine Brown getting the start at center for the injured Sean McEwen, and here we go. Kadeem Carey, and not much there. Simone Lawrence is in after Casey Sales got his first crack at Carey, and need a second down and long.
That combination of Kadeem Carey and Dedrick Mills, we've seen some flashes, both of them, in this football game.
In the last couple of seasons, been one of the top running backs in the Canadian Football League. 2nd and 9. Stamps coming in. A record of 4 and 10. Complete. Trey Odoms-Dukes breaks a tackle, and Odoms-Dukes gets into the Hamilton zone inside the 50. A big first down. First possession, second half for Calgary, a gain of 17 yards.
Yeah, just nice fundamental football here by the receiver, Odoms-Dukes, big-bodied guy coming back to the football. Help out his quarterback. Dips the shoulder, gets upfield. Breaks a tackle and just gets what he can to Hamilton territory.
To the Ticat 49. Calgary has been able to move the ball, but not cash in. A couple of field goals, that's it. That's Carey again. Good pickup on first down as he gets 8 more yards.
Yeah, that makes life a little easier, obviously, for Jake Mayer, but for that offensive line as well. When the line's a little bit off balance, not sure whether you're running or passing, they can't get their ears picked back quite as much. It takes away one of their advantages.
7 carries, 30 yards. Mentioned with injury, he's missed 8 of their games. 8 of their 14 this season. 2nd and 3. Off to the right. Begelton takes it and gets inside the 40. And on that 2nd and short, does have enough by the looks of things for that Calgary first down as the Sticks do move and a pickup of 4.
Yeah, nice tackle in space there by Richard Leonard. You saw a little friendly chatter there between he and Begelton, former teammates in Calgary. Hamilton, no doubt, leading on Richard Leonard a little bit as he's their most experienced guy on what is a young back end right now.
And started his career in Hamilton, had a season in Calgary before going back to the Ticats. Richard Leonard. Hamilton 39 now, 1st and 10. That's deflected. And Dedrick Mills closest to it for Calgary. Casey Sales up in there for the Ticats as it goes incomplete. 2nd down.
Casey Sales proven to be an even more valuable pickup than anticipated when they brought him over in free agency from Winnipeg. You see Sales, this deep tackle spot here just left to the goalpost on your screen. But with Dylan Wynn injured much of the season, Ted Moran currently battling injuries, the presence of Casey Sales on the interior of that D-line is huge.
Old teammate of Willie Jefferson's knocking one down at the line of scrimmage. Loading up again, and that's incomplete for Mark and Michelle. And once again, Will Sunderland, the hands on the helmet. Thought he might have had a chance for that. Sunderland getting the start with the injuries in the Ticat secondary.
See Mark and Michelle lining up out wide here. He's going to work underneath. You can see where he slid a little bit when he went to make that plan, make that cut to the inside, and I think that threw off the timing of the play a little bit, giving Sunderland a shot at that football.
Rene Paredes, 2 for 3. He missed one right at the end of the half on the last play. Long field goal try. And this one, at 45, puts it through. Paredes, the veteran out of Concordia, one of the best in the business in the history of the CFL, as they get 3 points closer. During the half, Orlando Steinauer made the switch at quarterback, putting Matthew Schultz in for Taylor Powell, and some encouraging results here for Hamilton.
Yeah, absolutely. Matthew Schultz came on and had immediate impact. His first play was a draw play that he ran for a first down, but it's a couple of big throws that stand out, touchdown passes. To Tim White first, and then to Terry Godwin. Really jumpstart this Hamilton Tiger Cat offense a little bit.
So James Butler running there. Yeah, the big play, 70 yards to White, at a 45-yarder to Keandre Smith, and then the 20-yarder to 17 Godwin for that touchdown. 6 for 10, 195, as you pointed out in that first half. Of note, nearly 200 yards passing on 6 throws.
Aggressive start, 32.5 yards a pop per completion for Matthew Schultz.
From the Hamilton 41 and a 2nd and 9 now for the Ticats. Now a 1-score game, up by 7 with Calgary, and the field goal in this half as Schultz, known to run, takes off, and a pretty good carry for the Ticats quarterback as he picks up a Hamilton first down near midfield.
There's a moment right at the end of this run. Schultz sees things break down, sees an escape route, and off he goes. But there's a moment where I thought he might slide, and then it started wondering to myself, I don't know if I've ever seen Matthew Schultz slide.
Not in his Montreal days either, when he was backing up Vernon Adams in his last couple of seasons with the Alouettes, or coming over to Hamilton. Got some playing time backing up Dane Evans a year ago. Butler on the first down and just across midfield. Gains about 3.
And if you saw Schultz following the handoff there, he continues through with the bootleg action to the outside. And I'm sure the Ticat spotters are keeping an eye, looking to see if anybody from Calgary honors that. As again, given that running ability, they look for him to give that exact same play look, but keep the ball and take off himself around the end.
Well, watch for it as Bo Levi Mitchell watches on, the initial #1 quarterback for the Ticats, but a couple of injuries. Blitz coming, he gets rid of it, and Godwin can't hang on. Just inside the 50, would have been close to a first down instead. A third is coming up right at midfield for Hamilton.
Big stop there, Roberson closing on the intended receiver. Just that left hand pulling down on the left arm. Godwin prevents that one from being completed.
Micah Awe bearing down as well. So Vedvik, low punt, gets a roll, and gets it to roll out of bounds inside the 15. Nicely done by Vedvik to pin the Stampeders down deep in their zone after a punt of 41, and no chance for Lewis to return that. Back comes Mayer. Reggie Begelton's okay. Stampeders down 7 in a critical game. He is the Stamps' top receiver, but a little more subdued, understandably, tonight. 4 catches, 25 yards. But this is the play that had him out for a while, Dwayne.
Yeah, it took a big hit from Katsantonis. Courageous play by Reggie Begelton, regardless of whether they call that one an incompletion. Came back to make a couple more catches over the middle. Still fighting through the Stampeders' leading receiver.
And Reggie Begelton came into the week the leader in the CFL in receptions. Mentioned 4 tonight. So a little inside toss to Akunavanu on the sweep. And Luther Akunavanu gets it up across the 20, and the second down is coming up. Be about a yard shy.
We mentioned earlier Akunavanu and Colton Hunchak, former York Lions, part of a big recruiting push in Alberta by York back in the day. Hunchak, Calgary, Akunavanu, an Edmonton guy, both heading east to play their university football.
Remember Nikola Kalinic, who used to play for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Still off in the NFL. 2nd and 2 to 22. Oh, breaking free there just after the first contact. It looks like that second effort got them the first down up at the 25.
Yeah, always in this part of the field. Very important to make sure you get a couple of first downs just in that ongoing exchange of field position. You never want to be punting from deep in your own end. A great start there, provided by Dedrick Mills.
Good effort by Mills to move the sticks. And this Calgary possession deep in their zone, down 7. 3 points on the board in the second half. We are halfway through the third quarter. Taking the handoff, throwing off, completing it to Trey Odoms-Dukes. He has it up across the 35. And another first down.
And Odoms-Dukes, the starter for the Stamps early in the season, then out of the lineup for a number of games. This is his second game back in that starting lineup. 4 catches for 55 yards last week against Montreal.
Go up at the 36 now. Back to Mills. Breaking loose. He had a nice opening. The ball comes out. And the Ticats finally do get it. It's Sunderland. After a couple of his teammates had a crack at it, but Will Sunderland finally picks up that turnover. Dedrick Mills had a good carry, but he lost the handle on the ball. And it's the Stampeders turning it over. Hamilton football with a 7-point lead.
Dad, how's your training?
Great. I've been
So I only tried it once or twice, and I kind of sucked at it, to be honest with you. Did you try it?
I actually had a curling activity in part of my phys ed degree, university.
Oh, I'd love to see that.
Football coach Larry Taylor taught it.
Here's Schultz, and he had Godwin open and overthrew him there. So second down coming up. Matthew Schultz, in his 6th season in the CFL out of Butler, renowned basketball school. We've talked to him about that in the past. His love of football, and it led him to the Montreal Alouettes for several seasons, actually, as a backup to a number of quarterbacks that mentioned, including Vernon Adams, and then signing on with the Ticats last year. 2nd year with Hamilton, and back in now after Taylor Powell started this game. Schultz, and he can't escape that rush. As the sack comes in, Mike Rose coming in with Terrell McLean as well. And pressure up front from the Calgary Stampeders have forced the Ticats to kick it away.
And no surprise, Mike Rose leading the Calgary Stampeders in sacks this season. That's the 9th on the year for number 41. Here you see he moves inside. Started the game on the end. Going airborne that time to bring down the Ticat QB.
Got great push on the left guard. All-star Brandon Revenberg there. Move in. 3rd down, Vetvick. As they bring a bit of a rush there, but he gets it off, and on the run it's Lewis taking it with Parnell Flowers Lloyd, the special teams tackles leader in the Canadian Football League. Call him CFL for his initials. CFL with another special teams tonight.
And it's going to be interesting as we take a look at the ISO on him getting downfield and coverage, but to follow his career path, this is a guy out of Stony Brook coming to the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Weak side linebacker, has been a hybrid linebacker DB kind of guy, which sounds a lot like another Stony Brook product, Tyrese Beverett, who's having just a fantastic season, one of the best defensive players in the East Division here in 2023 with the Montreal Alouettes.
Garthel Flowers Lloyd. And if Beverett puts Stony Brook on the map in the CFL, he's adding to it, certainly.
And bear in mind, Beverett, over 40 special teams tackles in his CFL career, had 21 last year while also becoming a starter on defense for the Alouettes. So pretty big footsteps to follow for Carvel Flowers-Lloyd, but doing a great job so far.
Sure is. Handing off to Begelton on the sweep. And Reggie Begelton on that carry gets it up closer to the 45 of Calgary. Second down coming up, a 16-9 game. The Stampeders coming in with a record of 4-10 and still mathematically alive, but the math is not good. Especially with a loss tonight, because it would also limit any possibility of a crossover. There would be no crossover if Hamilton wins tonight. They would clinch a playoff spot, and then it's a matter of the two Alberta teams trying to catch the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Mention for Dave Dickinson. Never a losing record in the CFL until this season. 2nd and 4 off to the right, and that falls incomplete. Begelton, the intended receiver, but a third down is coming up.
That would sail a little bit wide. This has kind of been the thing for Calgary, is, you know, some positive plays, but no chunk plays that really help put them into scoring position in this ball game. You see pretty good protection on this one. You'll see Mayer's reaction as he knows he didn't get that one quite where he wanted to.
That offense still out of sync, and they have to punt it away. And Cody Grace doing that. And Tyreek McAllister inside the Hamilton 15. Crosses the 20 after a 54-yard punt by the Australian Grace, and a flag is out. Back around midfield. Matthew Schultz.
During the return, illegal block. Hamilton number 31. That's a 10-yard penalty, first down.
Flagging Sean Thomas Erlington for the illegal block, so that'll start the Ticats a little further back as they try to protect this 7-point lead late in the third quarter.
When you look, Hamilton, the difference in this game, as I talk about Calgary not having those big plays, those chunk plays, Hamilton with a couple of them, and that's really kind of been the difference in this football game, particularly when you think about that 70-yard touchdown pass to Tim White.
The Ticats made the turn, the halfway point of the season, at 3-6. They do have kind of a habit of being better in the second half under Orlando Steinauer, and they have been. They're 3-2 since then. Those two losses coming to their dreaded rival down the QEW, the Toronto Argonauts. Running now is Schultz. Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, they played Toronto 4 times this season, including last week. That was the end of the season series, and they lost all 4. Now, of course, there's always the dream of facing the Argos again. They'd have to get to the Eastern Final to do it, and they could secure a playoff spot, a spot in the Eastern Semi if they do win tonight. But yeah, that tells quite a story against the Argos, doesn't it?
Yeah, kind of a tipping point, I guess, in terms of their record. That the team they play the most has dominated them.
2nd and 5 from the Hamilton 15. Late third quarter. That one is complete right at the first down mark. Right around the 20 for Keandre Smith.
And no doubt a fun one for Keandre last week as he had that career night against the Toronto Argonauts. It was a game where his dad was part of the sort of the opening ceremonies of that game. No doubt Adrian getting to a lot of games with Keandre playing here in Southern Ontario.
From the 20 and a first down, and Butler and gets 6-7 more yards. 2nd and short coming up. But yeah, Keandre Smith is a little sample of what he did against his dad's old team, albeit in a losing cause against the Argos last week.
Yeah, Hamilton's busiest receiver, 9 catches, targeted 13 times in that ball game. A few absolute gems. Terrific one there. Going to the turf to pick that up, but young receiver with a real bright future here in the Canadian Football League, and obviously part of a string of receivers coming out of the University of Guelph. Those look good.
2nd and 3, Hamilton 27. Butler, first down and more. Butler keeping those feet as he gets it all the way up to the 45 and a big first down for the Ticats.
And that leg drive was the key for James Butler, as he had a couple of defenders with a shot at him as he broke through the line. He's just pulling Nick Taylor along for the ride.
Taylor moving in at safety when Brandon Dozier moved to that nickel linebacker spot, the strong side, after an injury to Titus Wall. So, hey, teams have had their injuries. The Ticats have had to deal with them as well. In fact, these two teams have had more players on the active roster this season than any other in the CFL. Schultz. Well, he dumps it to Butler, but that's going nowhere. In behind the line of scrimmage. It's a loss of about 6 yards for that completion to James Butler.
Yeah, this was a play with a lot of moving pieces for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and I think the Calgary Stampeders did a pretty good job of defending all of them, as you saw. Schultz essentially just having to get rid of the football.
Big Terrell McLean and on the act there for Calgary in his second year out of South Florida. So second down now, a loss of 6. The Hamilton 39. Final play, third quarter. Stamps down 7. They try to set up a screen there to Butler, but it goes incomplete, too far for him. So not close there. And the Ticats will have to start the final 15 by punting the football away. Tim White has a touchdown. Cameron Judge has a pick. Some big plays. More to the Ticats, though, up by a touchdown. 1-point difference, but as you look at those numbers, really the Stampeders, Dwayne, are hanging around. Biggest difference, they don't have the big plays that Hamilton's offense has.
Yeah, that's it. And, you know, Hamilton has made a couple that's allowed them to put points on the board. We made reference earlier to that 70-yard touchdown pass from Schultz to Tim White. Calgary is just one play away in this football game, but they've got to take some chances and push the ball down the field a little bit, which, again, they've been doing better as this season has gone on. It was a theme and a bit of a concern for them in the early part of the year. But you got to think that at some point in this ball game, they've got to open it up a little bit and take a shot.
So Jagarrett Davis there. Ticats, of course, another former Stampeder. They tried to trade him back earlier this season, but because he didn't pass the medical, back with Hamilton and playing tonight against his old team. 3rd and 16, so the fourth quarter begins with a Vedvik punt to Tommy Lee Lewis. Inside the 20 after a 52-yarder, he backtracks. But they got him covered and nowhere to go. Coming down is Nick Cross, another good special teams player for the Hamilton Tiger Cats on that tackle. So extracurriculars again. But Mayer, you talk about one big play away, and that is a quarterback certainly capable of throwing those big passes. We've seen that several times this season.
Yeah. You look at sort of the positives and things to build on, the things that the areas in which he has grown over the course of the season. To me, that's one of them. Guys like Beggleton, Mark and Michelle, they can get the ball down the field.
He took over as the #1 quarterback from Bo Levi Mitchell midway through last season. Turned out to be Mitchell's last, and off to Hamilton, and can't play tonight with an injury. A screen now, and that's too shy for Kadeem Carey. It falls incomplete. A lot of pressure coming in by the Ticats.
And there you see Bo Levi Mitchell on the sidelines, fighting his way through this injury-ravaged first season as a Hamilton Tiger Cat.
He first got hurt in week 2 in Toronto, and then came back, and then first game back against Ottawa, injured in the final play. Been out ever since, back in the 6th game. 2nd and 10 for Mayer from the Calgary 24. Off to the right, another short pass shy of the 30, and a flag comes out.
And I think this may be a late hit or roughing the passer, given the area and timing. And frankly, the fact that Jake Mayer was flat on his back.
Way Waiting for word from Tim Croker to Garrett Davis.
Major foul, roughing the passer. Hamilton, number 56, 15 yards from the end of the play, and an automatic first down.
There he is. Fans don't like the call, but the X stamp, and still with Hamilton, gets flagged there.
Watch Davis follow through. Ball's gone. A bit of a shoulder to the jaw here on the hit. Close one. And I think we may have a challenge flag here for Orlando Steinauer.
That flag comes out. Orlando Steinauer doesn't like the call. Fans didn't like it. Davis didn't like it. We're going to have another look at it. And what would be right now, including the penalty, a 20-yard net gain for the Stampeders up to their 44.
Hamilton is challenging the play, the call of roughing the passer. The play will be reviewed.
So we'll take a break while the command center looks that over. Was it indeed roughing the passer? To Garrett Davis on Jake Mayer. Makes a big difference, that decision. Command center has been looking at Davis coming in on Jake Mayer. They've taken a long look at it, and this is what they've decided.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. Hamilton, on losing the challenge, has lost a timeout. First down, Calgary.
Orlando Steinauer throws that challenge flag again, this time in disgust, not liking the review. And so that penalty puts the Stamps up to their 44 and a big first down.
And having a chance to look at that one a few times slowed down. I don't really like the call either. I mean, it looked like the initial contact was more chest to chest. The shoulder pad may have slid up a little bit and caught the bottom of the face mask of Mayer, but it is what it is.
And Casey Sales comes in and says, take that. No flag on that one as he takes Mayer down. Big sack after that first down by penalty for the Stampeders, pushing them back to the 35.
Sales right on the hash mark. Former Ohio Bobcat going to work here. Picks a side, dips a shoulder, and fights his way through to the quarterback.
Fifth sack of the season, Casey Sales. Loss of 8 for Mayer and the Stampeders. Second down and long, and they blow that one dead.
Procedure, Calgary, number 54. 5-yard penalty. Remains second down.
Crowd got to be a factor, I think, now, Dwayne.
Yeah, for sure. Feel a little bit of momentum. Hyped up after the Jagarrett Davis penalty, followed by the Casey Sales sack. The Ticat players want more.
Procedure call. Mayer battles this noise in hostile territory at Tim Hortons Field. Second and 23, 5 yards further back. Stampeders trailing by 7. They do not have a touchdown in this game. It's off to Dedrick Mills, who takes off after the catch. And he gets up across the 40, but still well shy. Not even back to the original line of scrimmage for the Stampeders, who will have to kick it away.
Yeah, still lots of time left for Calgary in this one, but not necessarily a lot of encouraging signs on their last couple of possessions here, Rod.
Really hasn't been, especially in this second half, Wayne. You're right. Moved it in the first half, but no threat to find the end zone. And Tyreek McAllister has it after a punt at 44. He's still on his feet. Tyreek McAllister still going, breaks another tackle, has it in the Calgary zone, down to the Stampeder 46, and a great return by one of the top returners in the CFL. 39 yards, Tyreek McAllister helps flip the field in favor of the Ticats as McAllister breaks it into the Stampeder zone. Hamilton up 7. Big announcement coming up at the half. Green Day to perform in the Twisted Tea Grey Cup halftime show. Hamilton Tiger Cats leading by 7. That's complete too as they're getting deeper into the Stampeders zone, looking to add to this lead. Tim White with another reception.
Yeah, after a massive boost by the Tyreek McAllister punt return that essentially limited the net gain on the punt to just a few yards in terms of field position for Calgary. Schultz goes to Cat's leading receiver, Tim White, along the sidelines for another nice gain.
Down to the Calgary 26. Big punt return by Tyreek McAllister put him in good shape to start this possession. In the Stamp zone, it's a 1st and 10 now. Matthew Schultz, been their quarterback since the first half, taking over for Taylor Powell, and another one to Tim White. A big 2nd down and 4 coming up for this Calgary defense.
And Brent Monson, Stampeders defensive coordinator, looking to dial something up here as they've got this game within a score. He certainly doesn't want to see Hamilton get another one here.
Trying to hold him to a field goal try here. It's about 10 minutes on the clock in the 4th quarter. The blitz is coming, and Schultz tried to get away, and he can't. He gets taken down right at the 25, trying to take off, so lost yardage. 3rd down coming up, and indeed, Mark Leggio will come on.
Big stop there for Monson's defense. And you see Mike Rose again moving to the inside as Kalon Thomas is getting some snaps at defensive end, the young Canadian. A homecoming, by the way, for Brent Monson. Hamilton guy. Started his coaching career here locally.
Last few seasons, defensive coordinator. Stamps. Mark Leggio's 1 for 1 in the night. Stays perfect in the field goal department. 3 more on the board. We're back to a 10-point difference right now in a 2-score game with 9:11 on the clock. The 4th quarter here at Tim Hortons Field. Well, Dave Dickinson, we talked about it, really mentioning the fact that this is really uncharted. Having a losing record this season really speaks to the tremendous success that he's had in his pro football career as a player and coach.
Yeah, I mean, even you look at high school, college, the whole deal for Dave Dickinson, he's been a winner. So yeah, these are certainly uncharted waters, and as you mentioned, particularly here in the Canadian Football League, and we're talking about a guy who has been in this league, with the exception of a couple of years in the NFL, a guy who's been in this league since 1996. As a player and coach, and never has been part of a losing season of it.
Came to Calgary after Doug Flutie went to the Argos. Jeff Garcia had been backing Flutie up. Garcia takes over the #1 QB spot, and Dave Dickinson was his backup before he ended up being #1 in Calgary, and later winning a Grey Cup, not only with the Stamps but with the BC Lions back in 2006.
In a year where one of the big stories, of course, is the emergence of Chad Kelly at quarterback, and Kelly, a guy who was originally on Edmonton's neg list, traded to Toronto, where he's excelled. Dave Dickinson was originally on Toronto's neg list, traded to Calgary in exchange for Tyrone Williams, Canadian receiver. Tyrone Williams, Dickinson goes on to become a star in Calgary and BC.
1st and 10 at the Calgary 40. Here's Kadeem Carey. Oh, sit down, he says to Simone Lawrence. Running hard is Carey as he gets it up around the 50, and an even gain of 10 yards for the Stampeder running back.
Well, in a week where the University of Manitoba has been in the news a lot, keep an eye on the left guard here. Former Bison Zach Williams. Just driving the nose out of the way to create a huge gash for his running back.
And a big collision right there. Carey getting the better of Lawrence, pushing ahead to the 50. 10-point difference right now. Play big with time, and it's complete to a wide open Markin Michelle. Another Calgary 1st down as he is taken down at the 45 of Hamilton, a pickup of 15 more for the Stamps.
Yeah, watch how the play action fake to Kadeem Carey buys some time for Jake Mayer. Nice spinning one-handed grab there for Mark and Michelle to pick up the first down. Big opportunity here for the Stampeders into Hamilton territory.
Scrimmaging at the 45 now in a 1st and 10. Still without a touchdown in this game. Mayer, deeper look, left side, and Michelle has it, but he's out of bounds. Will Sunderland was right there, step for step, and catching that one after he already went out.
Yeah, Michelle just ran out of real estate over there. Needed about a 68-yard wide field. 65 doesn't quite cut it. 66 might even have got it.
Part of a lobby now to widen the CFL field, Wayne Ford. Raucous crowd, 2nd and 10. Pressure coming, he gets it away. Coming across, Trey Odoms-Dukes with George on him, but another Calgary first down. Gain of 13. It's looking like their best drive of the game right now.
And Odoms-Dukes working out of the slot here. Just bends it in front of the defender. Easy throw from there.
His 5 catches, 68 yards. That one heading incomplete towards Cole Tucker. 2nd down coming up.
Yeah, with Jagarrett Davis in pursuit. Mayer didn't like what he saw, so basically put that one in the dirt to protect the field position and take another shot on 2nd down.
Noted about Davis as well. Played in 3 Grey Cups with Calgary, winning 1 before going to Hamilton. Playing in a couple more, and then won it with the Argos last year before coming back to the Ticats. Trademark of Jagarrett Davis. 6:24. Down the left to the end zone, but the coverage is there. Nearly intercepted. It was intended for Odoms-Dukes. Lawson coming in and getting some help too from Stavros Katsantonis. That could have been picked off.
Going to work towards the corner here. Oh, not necessarily open, but with a little more space initially as he makes his break. But you'll see as this ball hangs up, both defenders have that opportunity to close ground and make a play on the football. Lawson actually getting both hands on the rock at one point there.
Flags out as they were going for the field goal for Paredes.
Procedure, Calgary number 58. 5-yard penalty, remains 3rd down.
That attempt was inside the 40, pushing him 5 further back on that procedure call. So the ball at the 37 now, and it'll be placed down at around the 45 for Paredes. Looking to add another and get it back to within a 7-point game. That's the extent of Calgary's offense in this one. All Paredes so far with 3 field goals. 3 for 4. And there is his 4th of the night. 12 points on the board for Calgary. Now back within a touchdown. They moved down. They tried the end zone, but it was broken up by Dexter Lawson and Stavros Katsantonis. Hamilton still up 7. He had 7 last year with the Ticats. A couple of interceptions, including 1 in a dramatic comeback victory in Calgary off Jake Mayer. Defensive lineman dropping back and making that pick. Schultz dumps it off to Butler. The lead is back down to 7, 19-12 after another Paredes field goal, but the clock more and more is on the Ticats side with the football. Working its way down to 5 minutes left here in the 4th quarter.
This is it for a Hamilton team that put up some points in the first half, has been very quiet here in the second. They're going to need to put together drives and control the clock in this ball game. Massive 2nd down play here.
Quickly again to the right, and that one intended for Tim White falls shy of him.
And unblocked Micah Awe on the blitz. Pressuring the quarterback, forced that rush throw. Watch for Alway coming from the left side of your screen outside of Hauser. Creeping up. They weren't able to try to pop the guard out. Pick him up and couldn't get to him before he impacted that throw from Matthew Schiltz.
So third down. Vedvik standing just outside the Hamilton 30. Tommy Lee Lewis down at the Calgary 20 for this one. They drop back. Lewis takes it. He gets across the 35. Trying to break it outside. He does for a moment and got on Gauthier. Takes him out, but a good return by Lewis. So again, the Stampeders trying to chip away. They're down 7. Just needing more than a field goal. That's all they've had tonight, 4 field goals, but a good place to start for Jake Mayer. They're up at their 46.
Yeah, that's it. Special teams looking to provide them with a little bit of a lift here. Good field position, but
got to do something with it.
Yeah, for much of the night we've been saying lots of time when you're only down by a score. Well, the clock's beginning to become Calgary's enemy here with under 4.5 minutes remaining.
Jake Mayer. And off to his right to Kadeem Carey. And he gets it up a couple of yards. Second and long still coming up here for the Stampeders.
And Carey appeared to lose his footing as he tried to make a move.
Timeout, Calgary. Timeout, Calgary.
The Stampeders call the timeout. This not mathematically a must-win for the Stamps. They would not be eliminated with a loss. They would have a bye next week, and then just 3 games to go, wrapping it up against the Saskatchewan Roughriders, which, let's face it, if they lose tonight, their only chance of making the playoffs would be to overtake Saskatchewan, and they're 4 points behind. And then they'd have to go to BC Place in week 20, where the Lions are battling for first place in the West, and then they end against Winnipeg at home in week 21. Would it matter then? Who's to say? It does still now, though, especially if they can win. But they got to come back. If Mayer just sails it off and out of bounds on that 2nd and 9. Just throwing it away.
Yeah, that's it. Basically a throwaway from Mayer. Under a little bit of heat. Once again. Tiger Cats denting that offensive line a little bit. Mason Bennett, or Jamal Davis rather, getting the hit on the quarterback.
So sending it back the way of Tyreek McAllister, who was running back, tracking it inside the 10. Good punt by Cody Grace. And he tries to break free, and he does for a moment after a 52-yarder. Here we go. McAllister is another big return across midfield. Finally taken down by Brad Muhammad, but inside the Calgary 50. And McAllister, a game breaker again, as his coach heads over to give him his props.
Yeah, and this one is absolutely massive in terms of its timing. You look at where Cody Grace put the punt, that's perfect from a coverage point of view. If they could get down there and pin the Tiger Cats and then potentially get the ball back with a short field. But Tyreek McAllister and that punt return unit, you see Jeff Reinbold celebrating on the sidelines. They erase that short field possibility for the Stampeders.
A 56-yard punt, and it was a beauty by Grace. A 54-yard return. A net of 2. So here is Hamilton going to work as Butler breaks it up the middle. James Butler, first down, Ticats. And in the field goal range of Mark Leggio now for sure as they get it inside the 35.
Let's take a look at the work of this Hamilton Tiger Cats offensive line. Nice kick out block from Garon Gauthier. Butler just hits that one up the middle.
And that leads to the 3-minute warning. Ticats with Matthew Schiltz in control right now, leading by 7. but pressing with this first-year player in Tyreek McAllister, who's certainly improving his punt return average tonight, Wayne.
Yeah, and 140 return yards for Tyreek McAllister tonight's just continuing to build his totals, but very timely field shifting return right there for McAllister and his blockers.
All-star. All-star, you hear me? All-star.
They're casting their votes now for the All-Stars and wanting 35 to get the consideration here after what he's done tonight, because Hamilton, it's a one-score game, but they're certainly in position to make it a two-score game with just 2.5 minutes on the clock. Butler with the carry.
Well, tough competition if what they're nominating Tyreek McAllister for is All-Star as a special teams player, top player. Javon Leake down the road may have something to say about that. And even getting the nomination on a Hamilton team where Carthel Flowers-Lloyd leads the league in special teams tackles.
And then you got Mario Alford, who's the combined yardage leader. And he's got his share of punt return touchdowns too. He's got 3 and Leake has 4. And Janarian Grant would have been considered if he had a full season. We had a hurt back in week 5. Look at the run by Butler now, grinding his way through for a first down. Ticats, 2:10 on the clock, and they get closer to the end zone.
Yeah, and this is so significant when you look at 2 terrific runs by James Butler on this possession. That you get the feeling a little bit that the big return by McAllister really dented the spirit of the Calgary Stampeders when you see the 2 runs by Butler immediately following, moving the pile.
We've seen several games this year too where Butler has been running hard and can certainly wear a defense down with that offensive line in front of him. And back in 9-10s, cutting it back. That time hits a wall though after a few yards, and he's getting the push after the fact. They push him back inside the 15. Offensive line still doing its work even after the Stampeder defenders got their hands on Butler.
Yeah, about a 5-yard difference.
Calgary.
Stamps call timeout. About a 5-yard difference between where they whistled it dead and where his offensive line eventually pushed him to.
So those extra yards in this case not counting because they'd whistled it down.
It's dead right about there, and then the big boys come. Hang on, hang on, hang on. Keep it going. Yeah, the whistle had already gone, fellas.
They keep pushing up front. Beard and Woodmansey and Revenberg. Murray and Tyrone Riley at right tackle. The Stampeders at a timeout. They cannot stop the clock. 1:46 on it now. A 2nd and long coming up here, but 1 field goal essentially puts this thing to rest, although stranger things have happened. You should never underestimate the power of the CFL and the comeback. Instead of thinking field goal right now, thinking killing this clock just along the ground, content to keep giving it to James Butler. Well, now Cam Judge denies him there, so it does set up a 3rd down, and Leggio will come in to see if he can make it a 2-score game.
And again, big turn of events there for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, beginning with the McAllister return, a couple of great Butler runs, putting the Ticats in a position to put more points on the board. Had Calgary gotten a good cover on the Cody Grace punt, it wouldn't be the situation. Defense gets a stop. They're maybe getting the ball back with a short field and a 1-score difference.
Leggio puts it through. 10-point lead reestablished. 22-12, 1:19 on the clock. And Hamilton is in charge, looking to win their 7th game and clinch a playoff spot in the process for the 5th straight year, and eliminate any possibility of a crossover by a Western team. Ottawa losing earlier to the Montreal Alouettes, who get over 500. They're at 8-7. The Argos in charge at 12-2, despite their loss last night in Winnipeg, and Hamilton at 6-8 right now, but close to getting that 7th victory, as mentioned. It's still mathematically close enough. And they have a game left against the Alouettes, who have already won the season series, but they do get to face Montreal one more time before the end of this season. And who knows if it'll be a meeting to decide second place in the East. The Ticats would likely have to win that. They'd have to finish ahead. For Calgary, losing tonight would not mean they're mathematically done, but guess who they need the help of next week in order to stay mathematically alive? The Hamilton Tiger Cats, who take on Saskatchewan, and the Rough Riders have been reeling as they lost at BC Place last night.
Yes, Dave Dickinson would like nothing better than to make Thanksgiving and Christmas dinner with family a little uncomfortable.
Right. Diedrich Mills slips as he crossed 30. 1:14 on the clock. And a different part of the story now with Craig Dickinson, Dave Dickinson, fighting for the last playoff spot. Of course, Saskatchewan, despite their losing streak, still in control, looking at third place right now with a 4-point lead. Unless the Stampeders pull off a miracle here, that's the way it's going to be. For nearly 20 years, the Calgary Stampeders have missed the playoffs. Into coverage, and that is caught. Mark and Michelle with Richard Leonard all over him. And a first down for Calgary, 109.
Nice contested catch there from Michelle. Obviously Calgary now with no choice but to do what they haven't really done all day, but take some vertical shots.
Four-man rush, and that's complete to Michelle again across midfield as he quickly heads out of bounds. And another Calgary first down. Just under a minute now, 57 seconds. Mentioning the Ticats are in Saskatchewan next week. Closing in and clinching a playoff spot tonight in Saskatchewan, back home to host BC in 2 weeks' time, and they finish off against the Alouettes in Montreal. Last year's playoffs in the East at Hamilton go to Montreal, and Montreal, the Eastern Final, go to Toronto before the Argos advance in the Grey Cup. But in terms of 1, 2, 3, right now it's positioning that way. A deeper look for Mayer. Down inside the 20 and broken up. Looking for Michelle again, who's in behind the coverage, but Katsantonis is there as ball came down a little bit short.
Well, somewhat fittingly for Hamilton, a couple of guys in that secondary who have been around the ball all day. For them, Stavros Katsantonis, the free safety, ranging over there to help out. Will Sunderland as well pressed into action this week with the Javian Elliott injury. And on a number of significant pass breakups.
Celebration is on here at Tim Hortons Field. Under a minute to go. Calgary with the ball just inside the Hamilton zone. 2nd and 10. And that one is caught shy of a first down by Trey Odoms-Duke. So a third down coming up. And of course, Stampeders, I would assume, 44 seconds, have to take a shot at the end zone.
Well, we'll try and dial something up, obviously, in no huddle here, preserving as much time as they can.
Complete, and Odoms-Dukes keeps his feet out of bounds. First down, 33 seconds on the clock. The fans still here at Tim Hortons Field. You get your team into the playoffs, you never know what can happen. And they can be dreaming of with Pigskin Pete leading the way, that this team can win on the road in the postseason and get back to Hamilton like they did 2 years ago. A lot of work to do before then, but it starts with clinching the playoff spot, and they're on the verge of doing that tonight, although Rene Paredes trying to make it a one-score game again, but this...
Yeah, it's this little balancing act and, you know, I guess going with your gut a little bit. They know they need the 2 scores. They got the first down, but kicking the field goal now on first down, trying to leave themselves some time.
Paredes, he got it. His 5th field goal, so it is back to 7 points, but I mean, it's pretty simple. You need, you know, Mark Killam's special teams to get the onside kick, get possession, and then take a shot. That's it. So Hans' team will be out. Hamilton, and to see if they can prevent the Stampeders from getting the ball back. There's Mark Killam, longtime special teams coordinator for Calgary.
Yeah, that short kickoff unit. Just here looking as Calgary ran a play on 3rd and short and got the first down right before they kicked. And you may question, why didn't they kick the field goal then on 3rd down, save a play, save that just that much time for their offense. Would have been a 50-yarder had they kicked it on 3rd down. They move it a little bit closer, raise their odds a little bit. With that one extra play was the thinking for Dave Dickinson and the Stampeders.
And Paredes' one miss was 47 yards, to your point tonight. So the biggest kick for Paredes yet to come. This one. Calgary getting the ball back. No. Hamilton football. Reaching up for it is Kyle Oxley, the 3rd-string quarterback, who's also been a receiver and a good special teamer too. And there's Jeff Reinbold, a little fist bump with the Ticats now in position to completely put it away.
This is great for Kyle Oxley. You may not get called on often, but when you do, you got to deliver. They get him out there, the backup receiver for them, but big, tall guy who can go up above the masses and bring that ball down exactly as he did. Perfectly executed a Hans team play by the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
27 seconds on the clock, 7-point difference. And the Hamilton offense is on the field to put this one away. Victory formation. Schultz coming on for Taylor Powell, and with an impressive night for the veteran quarterback, the number 2 on the depth, but throws a couple of touchdown passes in the first half, and ultimately the Hamilton Tiger Cats are about to go back to within a game of 500, and more importantly for them, the way this season has gone and a very rough start to it, going 3-6 in the first half of the season, clinching a playoff spot for the 5th straight year. And a smile from their head coach Orlando Steinauer. The clock ticks down. The final play for Matthew Schultz. The Hamilton Tiger Cats are going back to the playoffs. There will be no crossover, and the Calgary Stampeders' fate playoff hopes have dimmed even more.
Big outing for Matthew Schultz, particularly in the first half. He came on and made a few big plays off the bench for the Hamilton Tiger Cats that kind of